Paul, welcome to the deep dive presented by Entrust IT Solutions. How you doing?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
Not as good as you. You're telling me about fishing and enjoying things. The grandkids. I don't have grandkids. My daughter's 11, but she's enough
That's a
right
good
now.
thing.
She's
Yeah.
she's enough right now. So I appreciate you being on the show. A lot to talk to you about. You've had a pretty good career, and there's a lot going on in the sport that I know you're watching, and I thought you'd be a good guy to have on. So before we get into any of that stuff, I was just kind of reading over stuff I knew about you, your bio, and all that from the Hall of Fame. Which again, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Uh, California. I think some people, maybe new race fans who saw your race maybe the last 5, 6, 7 years, maybe don't know you're from out there. You started racing out there. Uh, what drew you to sprint cars? Why sprint car racing?
Well, in California, when I was growing up, that's all we really had. I was in Northern California. So Southern California had non-wing sprint cars and had midgets with the BCRA and USAC. Sprint cars was dominant up in the northern part of California. So it was just what we did on Saturday nights growing up, going to West Capitol Raceway. And I just remember in 1978, we went to Bob Clausen's, which is Tim and Brian Clausen, or Tim Clausen's dad, and got to hang out with Rick Ferkel, Steve Kinzer, and Danny Smith. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And from that day forward, at 8 years old, that's all I want to do was drive a sprint car. So I set my goals, and fortunate enough, I was able to meet them.
You did. You were out there. You hooked up with Clyde Lamar. Really had some good runs with him. And then I guess, what was it, 1996, 1997, you end up with the World of Outlaws. You lost
Yes.
out. You lost out on Rookie of the Year to a pretty good guy, Donnie Schatz.
Yes, I sure did. We had a great battle that year, me and Donnie. I was, I've been racing for a while, but I never seen anything outside of California. So going to these new places really kicked your butt, and me and Donnie battled it out, and he won, and we became good friends after we raced for a while, and never looked back.
Did you ever think he'd become what he is today? 10-time World of Outlaw champion, 312 wins, winning crown jewels like it's lunchtime. When you saw him back then, did you ever, I mean, obviously you're friends and I get that, but did you ever think he'd be that good?
Oh, when we first started, no. I mean, I never, we were both young and wild, and we tore up a lot of shit or stuff. Sorry.
No, that's okay. You could say that.
We tore up a lot of race cars, but once he got with Kenny Woodruff, and you just saw the focus he had, and him and Kenny together, you knew things were going to be great for him. Once he got over that hump at Knoxville, running second, putting it on the front row, crashing first lap, he was always there. So I wouldn't say at the beginning, but towards, probably when he was 25, 26 years old, you could really see it coming.
California then and California now. Obviously 360s dominate the landscape out there. I get that. But from drivers then to drivers now, ton of guys come out of there. You look at down the open wheel win list every year, and California guys dominate the top 10, whether it's wingless or winged. Compare California then to California now, and what the product.
Well, back when I was racing, we didn't have 360s when I was out there. 360s was just kind of coming in. I grew up racing with the likes of Brent Kading, Tim Green, Jimmy Sills, Ronnie Day, Chuck Miller, my brother, Greg DeCaris. I mean, we had a good Steve Kent. I mean, we had a good core groups. And then it kind of went 360 racing, and it kind of went in a little bit of a lull, where not everybody was, the 410 section wasn't really there. And then once the 410 started coming back, you seeing these younger kids coming out of these micros and going through, starting go-karts and then getting in the micros, going into the sprint cars. And they got some pretty badass kids coming up through the ranks now.
Yeah, I think they produce the best young talent. I know I it's not a popular thing to say in central Pennsylvania, but I usually don't care about that. But yeah, California produces. You got, Larson. People don't realize Brad Sweet came out of there.
Hmm.
Rico, Kofoid, Gio, all those guys. Justin Grant came from out there.
Yep.
Logan
I mean,
Seeley.
yep. You got a lot of kids that, or a lot of kids. They're all kids to me now, but like when I came out of California, I was winning races. I mean, I won a lot of races in California, and then come out on the road. And it takes us a while to adapt to the bigger racetracks. But once we figure, because we run all bull rings, we have 1/2 mile racetrack in Calistoga, and so, and it's nothing like anywhere else that I can think of. And then you come out, because I was winning races, like I said, in California, and I come out, I'm like, oh, I run with the Outlaws. I run top 3, top 5 with the Outlaws when they're here. Hell, I can do that anytime. Well, it's a different ball game once you get out of California and onto these different racetracks. So, like Kyle, when he first came out, he struggled a lot trying to run at Williams Grove and other places. And then once he figured it out, it's lights out.
So you got your first outlaw win with Warren Johnson in the U2,
Mm-hmm.
an oldie but goodie. I know people love that car because it's a very unique number. And I remember seeing you at the Grove in it. But you get your first win with Missouri, at the Missouri State Fair, I believe,
Yep.
Speedway. What was that experience like as a California kid? It took you 4 years,
Yep.
but I mean, guys now are winning. There's so much parity and whatnot, but it was different then. You're going against Steve Kins or Mark Kins or guys like that. What was that experience like to finally get over the hump and get that outlaw win?
It was, I felt to myself like I never really considered me an outlaw until I actually won a race. Because I mean, you run with them, that doesn't mean you're an outlaw. But once you win with them, you kind of become into that elite group of people that can call yourself an outlaw. And that's where I kind of finally marked myself as, hey, I'm a World of Outlaw driver now. I won a race with the Outlaws, and I'm able to put a little bit more confidence in my step. It sucked that night because I was literally by myself. I had no family with me or nothing. So you get done with Sedalia, we had to drive to Peely the next day, and I climbed in the motorhome all by myself, and I got a 4-hour drive, and here I am by myself trying to figure out who I'm going to call as I drive down the highway. And cell phones back then were very expensive, but it didn't matter that night.
That's fun. Cell phone. Now everybody has a cell phone. I just dropped my daughter off someplace and she was on her cell phone almost the whole time.
Yeah, that's normal America now.
Oh, and social media, except she's not allowed on that. So
that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It's very much a good thing. Now, over the years, and we're not going to go over every ride. You've been in a lot of them. You've bounced around. Some of the obviously the highlights, Tony Stewart Racing. You were a teammate, if I'm not mistaken, to Donnie Schatz in 2007 or was somewhere in there?
No, I was never a teammate with Donnie Schatz. I was when we did it in first year with the NST was that I think it was 2006.
Yeah.
So we had that, and then in 2007, that's when they started talking to Donnie, but Donnie was still driving for his dad.
Okay.
And that was when the talk was coming along that Donnie was going to come to TSR. They announced, I believe, at the Knoxville Nationals that year. But yeah, me and Donnie were never teammates.
Yeah, I was reading it. It didn't. I couldn't remember it because, well, I'm 52 and I'm old. But it said something. I was reading something that was written, and it said about coming over in 2007. I'm like, and I kind of lost track of years, but that had to be difficult. You hear all the chatter, about Donnie coming over. Donnie at that point. He's with his dad. He's winning a lot of races, and you're there. How do you deal with that?
Oh, it was tough because to be honest, that was, in 2000, when I went to drive in 2006, that's when him and Danny just split up. Tony and Danny just split up. We started the year with absolutely nothing. We didn't have a truck, a trailer. We didn't have a mule. We didn't have a tool. So we were kind of scrambling all 2006, trying to get everything going. And we were running Mopars. And then 2007, we switched over to Chevys. We went to Florida. I think we blew up 7 motors in 5 nights. Ooh. It was just a shit show. It was everybody looked just because it was Tony Stewart that it should have been the greatest thing, and it was probably one of the biggest shit shows I've ever been a part of. To trying to get everything going, and then I mean, we won a couple races here and there. Didn't run. I mean, weren't great, but we weren't horrible at the same time. But and then we had the talks of Donnie coming over, and I remember like it vividly, like it was yesterday. Me, Donnie, and Ricky standing out, and we were in Elma, Washington, and we we're talking about things about next year. And I was like, we need to get, because we were running Eagle chassis, which is a great race car, but we were running 90-inch cars, 86-inch cars. Never had no consistency. We brought TK in at one time, thinking he was going to fix everything, and he found out what a shit show it was. Also, it just was bad timing for me. And then we were talking with Donnie. Back to that, we were talking with Donnie, and I wanted to have a meeting with the guys at TSR, the head guys, because Donnie's on J&J's, we'd be on Eagles. I said, we need to bring everything into, like, be the same. If we're going to do this, let's get together and actually be a team. And I went in for my meeting, and I got released before I got to speak what I thought the plan was, and I was into that.
Again, this business, it never ceases to amaze me how some of these are happening. I've seen guys fired over text. I've seen guys fired. I've seen guys not told, and then I called them and asked them about it. I've
been through all of them.
That's uncomfortable.
I've been through all of them. I've been through finding out I got fired when I landed in New Zealand. That whoever, I think Lasowski was going to go drive the Casey's General Store car. That's how I found out. I never got told when I got released from the '83 car. I mean, it's the business. It's you better have thick skin to be in this sport. I can tell you that.
Does that strain relationships in the pit area with other drivers? Because you guys are a fraternity. There's guys you like and you don't, obviously it's personalities, but with so much jockeying, and I mean, look, I know guys who would flip on the track and there's drivers calling that owner before the guy's even back in the pit area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all seen it. Doesn't that affect relationships pretty bad in the pit area? And how do you kind of rise above that? Because even in the situation at TSR, Donnie's a friend of yours.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not, Donnie wasn't there trying to take my job. I mean, he wasn't there to do that. But I mean, it's just the way the sport is. It's part of the business. It's something you better know going into it, that you can be acquaintances, because we're not all friends out on the road, but we're all acquaintances, and we all say hi and how you doing, and talk and BS with each other. But at the end of the day, if they think your car's better than theirs, and they think they're better than you, they're gonna do whatever it takes to get into that, to move them to the next level. It's just part of it. It's something I don't think, I mean, I can't remember me ever doing that. I remember when I went to drive for Saint Michelle, and Schaefer was driving it, and I wanted to talk to them. And so I went and talked to Tim and said, hey, is it all right if because I knew Tim was leaving, but he hadn't told Saint Michelle yet. So I said, is it okay if I go over and talk to them? And he just said, can you give me a day to talk to him? And I kind of done, that's the way I just did business. I was always, I mean, I wouldn't say, I try to be considerate of others, but I mean, at the same time, I got to take care and feed my family at the same time also.
Was there a moment where you maybe got that hard lesson that this is how the business is? Because you're coming out of California, you can't automatically know that. I mean, maybe you did because of something maybe that happened out there, but how long did it take you to realize, wow, this is cutthroat, this is the business, and almost learn to accept it?
Yeah, I learned very early. It was my rookie year in '97, driving for Beef Packers. My crew chief, Mark Ellis, walked out to my motorhome, and it was coming around June when the Dirt Cup is. And Dennis always wanted to, go and win Dirt Cup. Well, Mark came out, sat in my motorhome, sat across from me, and said, hey, if you want to, Dennis wants to go back home and run Dirt Cup. If you want to stay out on the road, you might need to find another ride. I was like, okay. So, I mean, and I appreciated that. And so I started, I knew I was talking to the guys with Stanton with the Mopar deal, and Brazier was not happy.
Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live show, first one of 2026. I appreciate everybody joining the show. If you're looking to call in, it's 1-844-543-8589. And we're going to jump right in. Obviously, not a lot of news breaking this week. I think we're pretty much past that at this point. I think we could have a couple of other things as far as maybe some series designations. That's about it. But we're going to go right to the chat and let's get rolling. How beneficial will it be now that the BAPS has widened the front stretch? I'm not really sure they're widening it. I know they're replacing the fencing on the front stretch. So I'm unsure how much wider that's going to make it. And really, I don't think it's going to really play much of a role. Maybe getting into turn one or coming off four. But other than that, I don't see that much of a change. Maybe Colton, I know he comes on once in a while, and correct me if I'm wrong. But also, speaking of BAPS Motor Speedway, we're going to be giving away tickets again to their $5 race in June. It's going to be on the half hour. It's going to be 8, 8:30, and 9. So just call in, talk to Eric, and he'll take care of you. Did you throw a teddy bear onto the ice on Saturday night at the Bears game? Yes, I did. They had 81,700 and change, which was actually 21,000 less than last year. Believe it or not, they set a world record last year, and they just they fell a little short in a couple nights ago. But it's still, I think there's 60 charities involved, and all the Bears were gone the next day. They get distributed. So good. It's a good charity for kids. Bears do a great job with it. Really only took them 45 minutes to clear the ice, which of 81,000 bears and stuffed animals, that's quite a feat. And it was a good game. So good cause. Daryl on line one. Daryl, how are you?
I'm good, Jeremy. Hey, I'm sorry for the other day. I got so pissed off at Katie and I got my drivers mixed up. But I really enjoyed you guys talking about the drivers from California. And I'm go to the go-kart races a lot down there. And you wouldn't believe how many young kids are saying, I want to be a high limit champion now. It's changed a lot. You've got a lot of really good kids that are running outlaw carts here, and they're doing pretty darn good and making a good name for the California fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think high limit's definitely going to maybe surpass the Outlaws on the West Coast, with Brad, obviously being from the West Coast, Kyle and whatnot. It seems like high limit does a little better in California than the World of Outlaws. As for the outlaw carts, I think that's why we have this contingent out in the road now with national touring guys from California who just, I don't want to say, I mean, obviously Gravel's the champion of the World of Outlaws, but you look down through the earnings list, you look at the winners list, and I highlighted it on the 90 at 9 the other day. I don't need to go back over it. Right now, that's the best area. There's no doubt about it as far as producing talent to go out in the road and do well. And I can make the I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have Bob Carroll to thank for that, for starting the Outlaw Go-Karts in '83, and that's where Rodman got his start. Announcing and fiddling around with the microphone, and they've brought some really cool people into the sport. That little go-kart track in Red Bluff has, and now you've got Chowchilla, and you've got the one up in Roseburg, Oregon. And these kids are running karts year round. Little Caleb Henry's brother, my God, that kid's, I don't know, he only looks like he's 10 years old, but my gosh, he can shoe a outlaw cart. And when you listen to him, he's like, I just want to be a high limit champion. I just thought it was pretty cool to have little kids wanting to, be a high limit championship instead of just having an outlaw championship. They got two places to go now.
They got two places to go, and I think it's good just to hear a kid say they want to, advance in the sport. I mean, obviously, you got to have a future if the sport's going to survive. If the sport's going to survive, a lot of young guys out there now. I mean, Kofoid's how old? 23, something like that. And Corey Day's still young now. Obviously, he's in NASCAR, but you never know what happens there. I think the sport's set up driver wise for the future, and I think it's going to be very California dominated.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Once Gordon got his hands on Corey Day, we knew where he was going.
Yeah, now he's got to make
know,
it though. I mean, he's got to make it though. I mean, it's not guaranteed.
Yep, that's true. But watching him drive in Australia, holy moly, if he does that in a NASCAR, look out.
Well, maybe he gets back in sprint cars. As far as if it doesn't work out at the asphalt level, I wish him all the luck or all the good fortune. I mean, obviously you got to earn a living, and you're going to earn a living there better than you're going to in a sprint car. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's a little more safer too, I think.
I would say that's probably true as well.
And another thing, why is everybody pissed off at Rico for buying in Speedway? What do they think? He's going to get the best motors now, and they're gonna not give Buddy Kofoid the engines he wants?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I think people, conspiracy. There's got to be some Dodge or something, and I think it's just buying into that. Trust me, everybody who gets a Speedway motor is going to be taken care of. I don't think Rico's going to. I mean, he has Ricky Warner. I mean, that's all the advantage you need.
Yes, sir. That's a good advantage right there. And I've been buying parts from Speedway Motors for probably 40 years, and that place has always been nice to me, and the people are great. So I don't think much is going to change now that he bought a little into it. And I don't think Buddy's going to get the bad motors and Rico's going to get the good ones. But if you listen to people's BS, it's just sometimes hard to swallow.
Well, you said the key term, BS.
Well, you have a good night, buddy. I'm going to make me some tacos.
All right, Daryl, you have a good one. Thank you very much for calling.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay. What do we got? Could you run down the BAPS ticket giveaway information again? I was screening a caller when you gave the rundown. Thank you, producer Eric. So we're going to give away 2 tickets to the BAPS June $5 sprint car event on the half hour. So it's going to be 8, 8:30, and 9. So we at least got to get to 9 o'clock tonight, which I don't think will be a problem. It hasn't been a problem yet. So you get caller, just call in, give your name, address to Eric. He'll take it down. It's the first one who gets through for the tickets. And then you will get tickets in the mail from BAPS Motor Speedway, 2 of them free to that event. The tickets are coming in this week, so you can expect them to be sent out not too long after that. All right, we got Bob on line 2. Bob, how are you?
Well, I'm doing fine. Hope you don't hang up on me this week.
I didn't hang up. I don't control it.
I'm just giving you crap. No, I was going to tell you, my son and grandson are big hockey fans.
Okay.
My grandson's 13 now. He started playing when he was 3, and he's on one of these touring teams that go around the Midwest and stuff. But a few years ago, they had went down to watch the Iowa Wild, and they get to the top of the stairs and the confetti flies and stuff, and you're our lucky millionth customer. And they got 2 lifetime tickets to the team for the rest of their life, and got jerseys, and they got to drop the puck. And my other son was up in the suites and not paying any attention. He looked down and he said, "That's my brother." So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I'd like to get in on that at a Hershey Bears. Hopefully, I mean, that'd be great to have a lifetime ticket.
Yeah. Of course, they don't get to go as much as they'd like because they're on the road running to Chicago or Minneapolis or someplace on the weekends quite a bit to play hockey. But yeah, they truly love it.
Yeah, tribal hockey's it's quite the endeavor, and it's also expensive. I mean,
very expensive.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how much that equipment is. It's big kind of up in New York, upper New York, Canada. I know we've had people from the central Pennsylvania area. Well, Nick Foligno, for one. Foligno used to coach the Bears. Nick Foligno, his son, who now plays for, I guess, the Blackhawks, he ended up leaving high school and going up north. So it's quite the endeavor, and it's, like I said, very expensive. So
yeah, there's a guy that owns a restaurant in St. Paul that was a pretty big hockey player, like Tom Reed, I think his name was. And the team all went in there to eat, and he came back and talked to him for quite a while. They thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, no, it's a great sport. I enjoy watching it, and I might have a wager on one of the games tonight.
Well, I hope the best for you.
Well, I appreciate that.
So, who's your early pick for Volusia?
Volusia? I mean, David Gravel's going to be fast. He always is there. And don't be surprised if Sheldon's quick there. There's my sleeper pick. Sheldon gets a win.
They still haven't announced anything, have they?
No, they have not announced anything. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I mean, doesn't matter if I am or not. But I think it would be kind of interesting if they just show up at Volusia and don't do a release or anything.
Yeah. Guess it doesn't make any difference.
No, it's not going to change their outcome.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right. What else do we got? What's your thoughts on Kubota leaving the sport? Does High Limit have anything lined up as a title sponsor? I just think it's the ebb and flow of things as far as this sport. We've seen it before. Title sponsors come and go. We saw it with Pennzoil, O'Reilly's, Craftsman, STP. I don't think it changes anything. I really don't think it affects High Limit. I've talked to Brad Sweet about this. The first 4 or 5 years or so, that is a flow thing because High Limit's not established yet. They don't really have a lot to sell as far as a platform, numbers, things of that nature. So they have to build that up. And then, of course, after like 5 years, they'll take kind of center stage in trying to get a title sponsor. I've heard that they do have some opportunities and will have a title sponsor by Vegas. I have a couple theories on who it'll be, but again, I have no doubt that they'll have someone, and I don't really think it's a big deal. Oh, we're stuck. All right. Maybe this was covered before, but who is in the 69K for this year? As of now, Ryan Smith. I have not been able to check with, I got to check with Don Kreitz Jr. I've been working on some other stuff. That's on me. I wanted to give him a call before the show. I didn't get a chance to. As of now, all I know is Ryan Smith. But that doesn't mean there's not someone else. What's going on here, Eric? Have you looked at the new rule book for the PA Sprint Week? Have I looked at the new rule book? I didn't know there was a rule book out. I know the Grove put out some rules. The Grove put out their rule book. I don't think the series has put out their rule book yet, unless it happened in the last 5 or 6 hours. Man, maybe 4 hours. I know the Grove put theirs out, but I didn't see, because as far as I know, the PA Posse Sprint Series is going to use the rules at each individual track. They're not going to have a set of rules that kind of oversee every event, which I think is a problem. I think that's a shortcoming of the series. So I don't believe there's been a rule book for the series release. I know the Grove release rules. Mike on line 3. Mike, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
Not too bad.
So I understand BAPS is going to have infield seating this year.
You could park your car in there. It's not infield seating. You can park your car in there and car load.
How's that going to work? Do you know how that's going to work?
Yeah, they did it at the end of last year. You just go in and you park your car, and I guess you just sit around your car and watch the races or stand there. It's not grand. There's no grandstand down there or anything. At least there wasn't. So I assume there won't be this year. I would assume that it's just going to be, a car load. They do that. They used to do kind of like a drive-in thing almost, except you can get out of your car and do whatever. But as far as I know, that's all it is.
You don't know about pricing or anything, do you?
I do not. You'll have to call the Speedway office for that. I know.
All right. Very good.
I do know it's going. I do know it's going quick. So give them a call.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem, Mike. Okay. Who is rumored to join the high limit rookie of the year contender to compete with Tanner Holmes? See, if you've run a national tour before, you don't be considered a rookie. So I don't know. Kerry Madsen wouldn't qualify. Maybe if Emerson Axum joins. If Emerson Axum joins, I could see it would be him. I don't see any other rookies as of now. So Tanner Holmes, it's all his as we speak. But we'll see if Emerson Axum joins the fray there. Maybe another driver or two. We'll see. Dave on line 4. Dave, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Jeremy?
Not too bad.
I would like to have your opinion on the Hoosier tires that is demanded at all these racetracks in the Sprint Car Series. I know every track makes a percentage, and every Hoosier tire they sell at their racetrack. Why don't they drop that rule and open up the tire rule? Don't you think the competition with the two tire companies would bring the prices down? These small car teams just can't pay the price of a new tire. That's why they're looking for the used tires off the big car teams. I'd just like to have your opinion. And thanks for taking my call, Jeremy.
No problem. I'm going to be doing a 90 at 9 on this very topic tomorrow. And I'm not going to give too much of it away, but Hoosier does pay the tracks. It's not just a percentage of the tire. They pay the tracks. And while the open comp sounds great for competition, who's going to replace that money? And yes, and Eldora doesn't have their special events, but let's say a Knoxville, for instance. Knoxville can weather that storm. But another track, let's say, for example, $30,000 at the end of let's say they get $30,000+ and they make $20,000 at the end of the year. That's what they're in the black. You take that $30,000 away and they're in the red. You still got to make up that money. I think the problem is that genie's out of the bottle. And I don't know how you make up for that money that the track's going to lose. And I don't think tracks are doing as great as people think. And especially ones that don't have events like the Knoxville Nationals, Tuscarora 50, Williams Grove National Open, etc. They got to replace that money. So do I think it would help competition? Sure. Do I think even if Hoosier went to different compounds, I think it would help, competition. I think Dish Wings would help competition. But as far as making it open, I don't think you'll ever see that again. And if you do, that tells you how much I think it'd be a series, maybe, or somebody like that who isn't getting paid by Hoosier as much or can absorb it if they lose that money. So that's a tall order. And yes, again, would it help competition? Sure. But there's more factors to think of than just competition at this point. Dollars and cents. Did we lose Dave?
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. No problem, Dave. Thank you. All right. Possible changes coming in PA Posse series already. What have you heard? I've heard less races. I've heard it's going to be less races. I'll, when the final verdict comes down, I will give my thoughts on it. I don't think it's a great look that there has to be changes and you haven't run a race yet. But if it's changes for the good, I mean, there's good, like I said, there's good and bad. The good is, hey, make it less races. The bad is you kind of have a little bit of egg on your face, not knowing this ahead of time. So, but that's what I've heard. I've heard less races. That's where I'll draw the line on what I'll say about it. Let's put it that way. All right. I got the 1 minute signal from Eric. He's struggling today. He had to get coffee, I guess, before the show. Yeah. He's having problems. I'm watching him in the little mirror here, struggling. Got John on line 5. John, how are you?
Good, Jeremy. Just eating pork and sauerkraut, finishing it up. Yeah, I was wondering about something, and maybe you know something about it. You know this midweek series that High Limit was running
Yes.
the last couple of years?
Yes.
Well, it had its own points and had its own season champion and everything.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about that. No dates, no nothing. Have you heard of what are they doing there? I mean, to my way of thinking, I thought they just roll it into the season and be done with it.
Well, it is part of the season. It's part of the overall season. Those races just have a separate point.
It is part of.
Yes, it's part of the season.
Yeah, I understand that it is, but like, say you're not running that midweek thing.
Okay.
You're just running you go to a midweek race and you finish third or whatever, second. Do you get points for that against your regular season points or no?
Yeah, I mean, if you mean a high limit regular?
High limit mid-season race, you go there, you run.
You get points, yes.
Yeah, but are those points applied to the regular full season point standing?
Yes.
Oh no, okay.
Yes.
I just think it's kind of dumb. Lost its whatever, its luster or whatever. I think now.
Well, I think
I
don't think it's lost its I think when it started, that was all they had initially. They decided to go to a full national schedule, and I think now that has taken precedent over it, and it should. And I think this is just like I think this is just a side thing. I think it's just a little extra for guys. And
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they thought the Outlaws would run it some, because that's the whole idea. They thought, the Outlaws would come and run Wednesday night if they're in the area. And they even scheduled them so they would be kind of in the area.
at the
But the
beginning,
Outlaws
yes.
rolled their nose up at it, and we're not running it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So then I think that's what upset them a little bit. And they said, hey, you know what? We'll just go full season. No, I don't know. I don't know if that's what they thought.
Well, I think there were a lot of things that went into that. I think going to a full national season, I do think that Brad and Kyle probably felt a little spurned at some things that were said, so on and so forth, and that they weren't going to work together. And I think that was part of the reason they went to a national tour. And I think it just made sense for them at that point.
Much involved, to run them Wednesday and Thursday night shows, Tuesday, whenever it was. Might as well just have a full schedule and go with it. But
well, yeah, it's only 50 more shows. I mean, it's not a ton.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about and see how you felt about it. We had the Pennsylvania Speed Week, and we've had it for years.
Yeah,
and it's been really successful.
Yes,
it's been a successful thing. Well, if they wanted to have a Pennsylvania Posse series, why didn't they just do a couple more races at one end or the other of that thing, and just call out the Pennsylvania Posse series?
Well, you can't have 15 races back to back like that. They're already at 10, and you don't have many guys run all of those. So Speed Week,
no, you don't.
Speed Week is I think it's one of the most successful things in central Pennsylvania. I think it's the best Speed Week in the country. And I think, I think 25 races is the number that I would have made if you wanted to go.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's too many, even, I think.
Well, I think 25 would have been a good number to start with.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
So, yeah.
Because they're not going to get everybody. They're not going to get half of them to run that whole thing. Might get 4 or 5 guys, I think.
Yeah.
That'll run the whole deal. And they'll probably win it,
Yeah, I agree.
But, all right, I just wondered about that mid-season thing.
Sure.
That I haven't heard anything about it yet. I don't know when they're going to come out with that.
I think they just. I mean, their schedule's online. You can figure out which ones are the midweek shows.
I guess it ain't in print though.
Well, it's online. Okay. I mean, it's. I think under it might say midweek money series.
Oh, does it?
I think so.
I
haven't looked at it that close either. I've marked down all the dates, but I think it might say that.
Yeah. Well, if they do, that's fine too. You don't have to go to these races.
No.
You don't. They're not making you go to them. So.
Nope.
So yeah. All right, Jeremy. Have a good week.
All right, John. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You bet. Bye now.
Yep. Bye-bye. All right. What else do we got? It's 8 p.m. Okay. This is a reminder. It's 8 p.m. Call now for a chance to win the tickets to Baps Motor Speedway, Eagle Air Aviation $5 Keystone Nationals, taking place on June 7th. 2 $5 tickets free if you call in to Eric now. All right. Started watching hockey. Wow. Ain't found a team yet. Been following Blues a little just because it's Missouri team. If you want fun hockey, follow Edmonton, San Jose Sharks, Colorado. Those teams are fun. They score a lot. They move the puck around a lot. It's definitely hockey on steroids, especially Edmonton. There's a lot of good teams. I prefer Western. I believe, no surprise. I favor Western Conference hockey more than Eastern Conference. All right. What's going on, Eric? Most fickle fans in sports: football, baseball, hockey, or sprint car fans? Sprint car fans. Fickle's a funny word. Look, fans are going to be fans. Remember, fan is short for fanatic. I would say it depends. I think from a coverage standpoint, as far as media, sprint car racing's the most fickle because you can't report this or you can't report that until the team, when John Harbaugh got fired today, the Ravens didn't announce it. It was out before that. Okay. They didn't ask the Ravens if they can announce it. So there you go. That's when I think of fickle, that's where I think that the real differences lie. Did the entire Cowboys team quit on the season, et cetera? Eric needs to know. No, it was the last game of the year, and that was it. I mean, once you're out of the playoffs, it's Cancun time. Okay, they're thinking about their vacations, and they benched a bunch of guys. You got to see what you have in your backups. So there you go. Jim from Buffalo on line 11. Jim, how are you?
Oh, pretty good, Jeremy. I'll start one off with a corny one. If I think of fickle, I think of the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That is
hey, who
bad
do the
one.
Cowboys play this week?
Nobody. We expected this. It doesn't bother me.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry. You'll be
And,
one and done too. You'll be one and done.
Yeah. Let's bet that beer you owe me at Nationals on this one, okay?
I'll tell you what. We're gonna. I almost want to bet money on this one.
Oh, no. Beer's better than money. You get to enjoy it at least. Yeah, the guy from Missouri, if he wants to root for a good, exciting team after winning 10 in a row, we lost one, but we're ahead 2-0 after the first period tonight. You can watch the Sabres. So, one of the favorite teams there at the bar there in Knoxville. Dingus, they love hockey there. Anybody that's in the area, go in there. There'll be hockey on during the nighttime. But
gotta love hockey.
hey, getting back to the sprint car stuff.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, I think one of the biggest things they could do, tires. But bringing back the dish wing, I think would really, really help because it just, I don't know. Yeah, they're getting better with the flat top wing, but the dish wing just seemed to allow the cars to move around in the track a little bit more, use various lines. I'm not going to say it was easier to hook up with it, but, it just seemed to have better racing and you could follow somebody. You could be right on somebody's ass. You can't now, but on the bigger tracks, you could just be hooked up right behind them.
Yeah, you could pull out a line, make a move. I've talked to, Donnie Schatz about it, Danny Lasowski, a bunch of other guys, and they would probably like to see the dish wings come back. Now, Danny's not running anymore, but I'm sure Donnie wouldn't mind it. And yeah, I've always thought the dish wings, I don't know. I really don't know why we got away from it. Now, I know tire package has something to do with that as well in conjunction with the dish wing. So I don't know. I don't know really what the right combination would have to be, but I would definitely like to see dish wings come back. And I think, and even though guys say like a Kofoid or some of these other guys who have never run a dish wing, I think they would adjust to it quick, and I think the racing would just be even better.
Yeah, well, correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't they running the dish wing down in Australia?
I think you can. There's guys who don't because why go away from a package you ran all year? I didn't take notice who had a dished wing and who didn't down there. My mistake. But you can run both.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. I know I've been trying to watch, about the rules and stuff. Yeah. I know they're way different, and it seems like they make up a rule when they just want to. But anyways, and You know, I tell you what, this might not be a popular opinion, but I know you hate it. But the Tulsa shootout last week, I really enjoyed the hell out of that. I think I almost like that better than the midget week. You know, it just some of those races on Saturday night and during the week, I mean, they were heated. They had anger to good old fashioned hate to them, you know, and then they were just throwing them out there and going for it. I mean, I don't know if you watched it all or what.
Listen, I have a fundamental problem with the Tulsa shootout. I think it's weird to watch kids run around. I just think I mean, it's kind of like that guy who goes to midget football games and has no relatives in it. I just don't get it. It's just me. I mean, it's different people do different things. I also think it's weird for an adult to buy a kids racing t-shirt when they have no relationship to them. There's just I don't like
Okay.
Yeah, I don't watch any of that stuff. Look.
Okay, I get it
No, wait, though.
Go ahead.
The Chili Bowl. Since there's nothing going on, and this is a major thing for me, I will participate, obviously, in Corey Neshaw's pool next week, and I will probably do some 90 at 9 stuff and podcast stuff on the Chili Bowl, mainly because there's nothing else going on. Will I watch it? Maybe the A main. Maybe. But that's because there's 39 or 40 410 sprint car drivers in it.
Yeah, I got you. Well, you know, you talk about young kids. Yeah, it's weird to buy a young
weird.
kid's
And then it's
t-shirt.
weird for a 60-year-old man to get in a fight with one. It's just, I just find it to be strange for $2,500. I don't understand guys racing it who run 410s for a living. It's like Patrick Mahomes going back to play a high school game. I don't understand it. It doesn't compute to me.
Well, maybe they don't have anything else to do. You know, you talk about watching kids, but didn't Jonathan Beeson win the wingless one, and Frank Flood won one, but that was on a disqualification, and then some guy named Larson was running, and Kyle Busch.
I know.
And,
I just don't get it.
That's why I say I think Friday night and Saturday night when they were getting down to the nitty gritty and you know, you got to make it your last chance and everything like that. That's when it got pretty good. I didn't watch the beginning of the week, but Saturday night was pretty damn good racing.
Yeah, I just don't. It's just not for me. No, I didn't say they were pedos. Somebody in the chat said pedos. I didn't say that. It's just weird to me. I just don't. I don't relate to it. That's all. And now, if other people want to do it, that's fine. I don't relate to it.
About the only people that should be buying a kid's t-shirt would be friends and family.
Exactly.
I could see a brother, a dad, a mom, an uncle, or something like that. Yeah, okay, you're supporting the kid. Yeah. But otherwise,
that's weird to me.
You're right. That's just different. Well, got to get back to the Sabres game. You have a great week. Everybody have a great week, and go Bills.
All right. Catch you later. All right. What else do we got here? I did not call anybody a pedo. I just said I don't understand it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I always appreciate that every week. Subscribe to that YouTube station. It helps. That's for sure. And I appreciate everybody who listens. Which big name non-outlaws do you expect at Volusia? Anthony Macri. I expect Rico to be there. I expect Rico to want to get laps in the 15. I don't think he wants to show up at Vegas and just sight unseen first time in the car. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rico's there. Actually, I expect Tyler Courtney there to want to get laps since he hasn't been in a car since July. He's not running the Chili Bowl this week. So I expect him. Gio Selzy, I expect him there. So I think it's going to be a really good field. And, you know, I'm anxious. I will be there to cover the event. Looking forward to it. I think Danny Dietrich might be down there as well. So should be good. Thoughts on CSI Shocks aligning with Brent Marks and Bill Balog as their factory teams? That was interesting to me because I think we're going to see more of this. Look, you're making deals. It's no different than, well, it's a little different, but Charlie Garrett had certain guys run his motors. You have Capetta, exclusive deal with KKR. You have Morrison, has some exclusive deals. So I think we're just going that direction with shocks. Now, the concern is, is this going to be too much across the board and we're not going to have enough companies servicing all 903 teams who ran a 410 sprint car race in 2025? That's the only concern, but not surprised it went down. I mean, it's the progression of the sport. So I don't know. Something to keep an eye on, though. Did you see? Wow, I can't read tonight. Did you see IHRA bought Memphis Motorsports Park? Yes, I did. And are going to run a dirt track. Is this the same track Wu had on the Fram Dash back in the day? That I'm not sure. I was wondering that when they purchased it. I did see that they were going to run the dirt track. This will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they book some 410 sprint car races. Do they go after a national series? What is IRHA or IHRA, excuse me, what is their long-term plan? That's more what I'm worried about, or really am interested in. Where do they fall into this ecosystem, and what is the long-term plan for them? But yes, I did see that they purchased it. And yes, I know Rico will be in a 24. Outlaw Karts will be at McGrew-Bid Motorplex in 2026. We're trying to grow the division again. I like it. I've been told that those things translate to sprint cars better. I don't know. Obviously, I haven't been to California to watch one, but that's what the guys say. It's an easier transition to go to sprint cars then. So I would like, Pennsylvania desperately needs a feeder division that goes right to 410 sprint cars. We don't have enough young drivers. We have Cameron Smith, who I think is decent. I think we have, a couple of other guys, but not like California. And I think that's the difference between one region to the other. They're just developing guys quicker. It seems to me, at least, that there is an uptick in Australian drivers coming over to the States next year. Does this surprise you? No, I think it's cyclical. I think some years you have a lot, some years you don't. I think Callum Williamson obviously wants to bring his own stuff over. Wasn't a good experience so much in central Pennsylvania the last time. So it makes sense that he would want to bring his own stuff. We've had Attard be here. Jesse Attard was here, and now I guess it's his kid. We've had, back in the day, you had, Tatnell, all these guys come over. James McFadden came over, then he was here for 3 years. Now he's back to part-time here. You had Jock Goodyear, what was it, 2 years ago, I believe. Lockie McHugh, he was here. So I think it's cyclical. I think some years you have more than others. And I just think, look, over there, it's a big deal to go to the States. I would say they're more passionate than fans over here. So not surprised at all. Why does California always have the best natural talents when PA has the toughest local drivers? Could that mean that NARC is better than PA posse talent-wise? No, I am not now. I think it's the tracks they run on. Out there, you're dodging landmines every lap. you have some real weapons with lap cars too. You really have to learn to race quicker out there. You can't take laps off. You have a cushion. It's heavy. It's rough. You're dealing with lap traffic. You're dealing with guys who just aren't good. So you're dodging them. I just think it teaches you to race. I think when these guys come out of California, I think racing at Port Royal and racing at these manicured facilities is just easier. Sure, the Grove, a place like the Grove is difficult because it's such a weird shape, and it can take guys a while to adjust to it. But then you have Gio Scelzi, who won there very early. You have Buddy Kofoid, who won there pretty early. So I just think that out there, you have to be on the chip more, and it's rough, and you better learn to race. So do I think Narc has better talent? No, I think Narc's dropped off a little bit. In fact, I had a discussion with Jovan Schultz about that. I think it's dropped off a little bit. I think Justin Sanders, if Justin Sanders ran the whole circuit, he'd win it. And I think he'd win it going away. Didn't run the whole thing last year. And no, I'd like to see Jesse Schlottfeld run it. I would like to see some of those northern West Coast guys run it every week. I mean, that's a big ask, though, travel-wise. But I don't think the talent's overwhelmingly better now. I think a number of years ago when you had Macedo's running it and you had Buddy running them, whether it was just spot races or whatever, yes. Not this year, not last year, probably not the year before. But, I mean, we have Macri, Dietrich, and Dietz. And then we have Troy Wagaman and probably Freddie Raymer and still have Lance DeWeese. So I don't think they have all of that. I think they have Justin, and I think it takes a dip. So, but the tracks, though, teach them to race. What do you think about the Browns firing head coach? I think Stefanik will have a job quick. He's a 2-time coach of the year. I think that front office is a dumpster fire. I think, you could have a great head coach, but if you don't have a GM, I think you got problems. I think the Eagles have a great GM and a subpar coach. I don't think Sirianni's a great coach. I think we saw that this week. But they have a great GM. And the Browns, it's a dumpster fire. I think they did Stefanski a favor. And I think he'll be hired soon, as will John Harbaugh. I would not say Narc's better than PA Posse by any means. There is so much racing up the West Coast is crazy. From quarter midgets to 410 sprints and everything in between. Yeah, I would agree with that. And again, I wasn't saying that. I think there's more money out there too. But money doesn't always buy wins. It just doesn't. So I don't know. I just think the West Coast tracks prepare you to run against the best better. Simple as that. It really worries me every time sprint cars race at Williams Grove with the lack of catch fencing. Who is going to fly out of the track tonight? In Australia, the track wouldn't get a license to race. Okay. I think there's a lot of tracks that couldn't pass the license test for Australia. I think to pick on one is I think there's a lot of tracks, and there's tracks worse than Williams Grove. Do I wish there was a catch fence in turns 1 and 2? Yes, I do. I'd like to see I think more than anything, I'd like to see them level it off and then they have the room to do it, and then have soil or something back to a fence. That when they go over, they don't come back in, but they go in that, what you would call runoff area almost. So that's what I'd love to see, but I don't think that's going to happen. If it didn't happen after a lawsuit, it's likely not going to happen now. Chili's will be high limit sponsor. I'm not sold on that. That's not the one who jumps off the page to me. I would think Roto-Rooter might. I think Roto-Rooter is a possibility, and I don't have any inside information on that. I just think Roto-Rooter could be an option. But I'm not saying you're wrong either. It's just not the one I thought of. Any new news on Sheldon? I don't know. I mean, there's been no release. He's going to be in the 18 car. I mean, I think we all know that. And at this point, I wouldn't doubt if he shows up at Volusia and there was never an announcement. I think it would be different. At this point, why announce it? We all know it. Port's Point Fund comes from the Hoosier money. That and the Weicherts. I mean, and now the Point Fund's going to be cut tremendously because it's going to feed into the new PA Posse Sprint Series. Because there's a sanction fee for those races, and that's where the money for the sanction fee is coming from. So again, yes, I mean, you take Hoosier tire money away, it's a big hit to the track. And I don't think tracks are willing to do that. I saw somebody say Roto-Rooter is the midweek sponsor. That doesn't mean they can't be the national sponsor, the full boat sponsor. Jeremy, why were the drivers and car owners not involved with the PA series? I can't answer that. If it would have been me, that would have been the first. Well, maybe not the first, but I definitely would have included a team from each tier. Your one top team, one, and as all the way down to the guy who's last in points. I would have definitely had them in a process in some way, shape, or form. I don't know why they weren't. I think they're listening now, though. Perth. What? Perth. I don't even know what that word is. Safe with a pace car alongside of cars coming to the green flag. I did see that. I guess. I thought it was closer than probably need be. Safer than it. I questioned that as well, but I mean, I guess it gets out of the way. I don't know. I wouldn't cut it that close. Any word on who will drive the Vertulo 83V car in the Midwest after Bloomfield has been let go? Word was that they spent They spent more money than expected on their house and their shop, and they're scaling back. So it's not so much that he was released for any other reason, was that they just weren't going to race. So I'm not sure. We had a story on SprintCarUnlimited.com from Joseph Terrell. He did a good job on it. I'd recommend checking that out. Again, from what I gather, it cost more money to move to the Midwest and on the house and the shop they built, and they just didn't have enough to race. How about that bad man, Aaron Rodgers? Okay, he looked good. They're lucky they have Hayward on defense. Jalen Ramsey should retire, and they're also lucky Baltimore missed a kick. Let's not get crazy here. They got lucky. It's okay to say they got lucky. A guy who was perfect all year inside 44 yards or inside 45 yards, missed a 44-yard kick. First one this year. He's 29 of 30 now. So, Jeremy, thoughts on Aaron Reitzel winning the high limit title this year? I think it's very possible. I think it's very possible. He's got to stay away from injury. And I'm getting text messages. I got a meme. It said wide left, Tomlin fired. Harbaugh fired. Field goal made, Tomlin fired. Wide right, Harbaugh fired. So, and Harbaugh got fired. Yeah, I think he can win the title. Absolutely. I think that everything's in place with that team. I would have liked to have seen him not get hurt last year just to see where he finished at the end. I thought Lernerville was a place that kind of did him in a little bit. He had a bad weekend there, and it started with that heat race deal with Cy Lynch, but it killed him. And now you don't have that race at Lernerville. Now, I don't think they took it off the schedule for him, so let's not get weird. But, yeah, I absolutely think he can win it. Plus, he was fast in Vegas and got hit in the face. So, I think the table's set for him to make a run for sure. I definitely think I think it's a 50-50 crack, in fact, with him and Rico. Hockey Unlimited? No, not Hockey Unlimited. I do love the sport though. And I'm an NFL guy because I used to cover that at the newspaper, but I covered hockey as well. And going to hockey games, it's the best. And I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, but it is the best in-person experience from start to finish. There's always something going on, no downtime, 2.5, 3 hours. It's really good. I like sprint car racing, don't get me wrong. I like football games, but they really had to work at it because they had a bad TV deal. But no, not Hockey Unlimited. I'm not keeping track of all those players. Come on, my daughter can do that. 3-0 Sabres. Jesus. They're halfway through the season. Relax. Somebody give me an Edmonton update once they come on. Thoughts on Lance DeWeese using AI in the release for the hype image as opposed to taking a picture of the car or literally anything else? I heard people complain about that a little bit. It's fine either way. I really don't have a thought either way. I mean, car looked okay. So I'm Sugar Bear. Rowing machine battle between Jeremy Elliott versus Chaz. I don't think he wants to do that. The one I use has water in it. And that's a lot harder than the one he was using. Got to do the one that has water in it that you're going through water. All right. I think the PA Posse 410 Sprint Car Series debacle shows what the promoters think about owners and drivers. I don't know if I want to make that leap. I just think they put it together. They got in the room. They hammered it out. And I just think that wasn't on. I just don't think that was on their radar. I think they were in a rush to get this thing out. And I'm by no means sticking up for them. I'm just calling it as I see. I just think they rushed it. Jeremy, why don't you just break news? Why do you have to ask the crybabies if you can break the news that everyone will know in 24 hours anyway? The problem is, Sugar Bear, that I have to depend on that breaking news year after year. If I just break the news, then I think it hurts relationships in the pit area. And unfortunately, it's just something I have to accept. I would like to think that they would talk anyway, but it just makes the job that much harder. So you just kind of have to go with the unwritten rules that are set. And obviously, this is my living. I don't get a paycheck from a newspaper. If I got a paycheck from a newspaper, it'd be different because then I'm getting paid no matter what. In this case, subscriptions, whether it be YouTube, views, whatever, I have to earn every nickel. So it kind of makes it difficult when you're depending on guys talking. So I respect their wishes and I play the game. Didn't say I like it all the time. I said the game I play. Jeremy, why don't you? Oh, sorry. Jeremy, what's the best way to get your name in the announcer hat? I've been announcing for some pretty big iRacing shows, but I haven't been able to get into a real life opportunity. Ooh, tough question. Chase Rodman's in the chat. I think he's a guy you need to ask that to. He would know better. I think you got to start at I hate to use the term the bottom, but your local track, whatever track's closer to you, try and get 2 minutes. Maybe do some pit reporting. Maybe just try and break in, in a small segment and work your way up. There you go. Chase said, go to your local track and ask if you can do victory lane, podium interviews to start. And that's what I mean. You got to start small and work your way up. That's what Chase did. Have a good 90 at 9 with it, or not a 90 at 9, a deep dive with him from a while ago. He kind of broke down his trek up the line in the high limit. Connor Wade, Tony Laporta, done all of those. And they all talked about that. So you just gotta take what you can get, work up the line. Did you see the $20,000 to win show added to the All-Star schedule? I did not see that yet. I heard about it, but I've not read anything extensive about it. Where is it? I just saw a blip come across it as $20,000 to win All-Star show. I didn't even see where it was. It was right before the show. So if anybody can tell me where it's at, I can comment better on it. But I think that's good for the All-Stars. I liked what they did last year. I thought they had a good season. I don't want them to go above 36 races max because it's a working man series. I think it's a training ground for high limit. It's a training ground for other series or your national series. So no reason to get too big and run these guys ragged. So I like what the All-Stars are doing. It's Fremont. Looks good. I mean, I think if anybody was going to do it, it would be Fremont. So, yeah, I think it's great for the All-Stars. Didn't the World of Outlaws also start the Midget Outlaws? They ran wings. Would like to see a rebirth. I think they got enough on their plate at this point. I think with modifieds, late models, sprint cars, the extreme midgets, ASCS, they already, I think, are topped out as far as employees, as far as their organization, Dirt Vision. I don't think they can take on much more. And I don't know why you would. Do what you have and do it well before take care of any problems you have with your other series before you move out and get another one. Congrats to Ken Wacker over our 8:30 p.m. Ticket winner for Babs Motor Speedway. Appreciate it. Thank you for calling. The tickets will be sent out to you. Jeremy knows more and won't tell us. We are peasants. No, it's what do you mean? Know more about what? Know more about what? If I tell everybody everything now, they won't listen to the 90 at 9. I gotta spread this around. I haven't watched the Sprint Car live in a few weeks. Who gets their first win with their new team? Tanner Holmes or Donnie? Ooh. Donnie. Out of those two, Donnie, and it might be Gio Scelzi over the other ones. I think Gio Scelzi gets one before Donnie. So I'm going to say Gio Scelzi and then Donnie, then Tanner Holmes. You got to add Sheldon in there. And actually, I'm going to say Sheldon gets one before all of them. Because he's good at Volusia. And that 18 car has shown some speed at Volusia at times. So I'm going to say Sheldon wins at Volusia. Then I'm going to say Gio, then Donnie, then Tanner Holmes. Have you heard anything regarding Christopher Bell having a part-time ride lined up in 2026? I have not yet. I have some calls I'm putting in. You know, I can get back to writing. I wrote something yesterday. My hand's healing from the surgery. So it was a good time over the holidays to kind of dial it back a little. And then now I'm back on it. I got to put a NARC story up tonight from Joseph Terrell. And then I'll be making calls to find out, you know, if you guys want to know anything, I'll look into it this week. That's one of them. Jeremy, do you have a subscription to Clay Per View? I do not. I try and dial it back over the holidays. You know, I miss birthdays sometimes. During the season, which is fine. It's what I sign up for, and everybody around me knows it. And I try and catch up with my daughter a lot. Not that I don't see her. I talk to her every night, no matter what, throughout the season. But I try and really see her a lot over the holidays. So I don't watch a lot of racing. I watch a lot of replays, or they get sent to me. So I have a tendency to do that. So no, I do not have Clay Per View. Do they do a good job? Curious. I've heard they do. I'm getting a thumbs up from Eric. Eric has it. So good. No, I'd like to check one out. I just haven't had a chance yet. Why does PA run 358s instead of 360 feeder class? It started back in the early 90s. It was supposed to be an affordable series. It was under the Cars banner, and it was just a more affordable way of racing than the 360s. And I know it's odd. I know they don't run them anywhere else in the country, but it stuck. And now they used to get 50 cars a night. They used to run at Williams Grove and get 50 cars on a Friday night. Now, not so much. They're down into 30. I mean, at the Grove, it's anywhere between 25 and 30. And I think at Lincoln, it's 30 to 34, somewhere in there. But it still has staying power. And the 360s are dead here. Just non-existent. Have you watched the YouTube of Mansfield Speedway revamp? Tons of money. Yeah, that is tons of money. Looks like they're coming along. I'm anxious to see what that looks like this year. I haven't ruled out taking a trip out there to see the Outlaws show or that Outlaw weekend. And I mean, it's going to be interesting. That place, obviously, the track surface when I was there was really rough. Cody Summers had problems getting that right. We'll see if this is different. It seems like a lot of time and effort's being put into it. And who knows? Maybe it's a gem and they host big events there. I think they're definitely jumping in with both feet the first year with getting the late models and the sprint cars there. So like I said, I might take a ride to see that. It's not that far. It's actually closer than Eldora. Jeremy, any more rumors on any more rookies joining the Outlaws or High Limit? I hear about Emerson Axum. I hear, but there's going to be some other guys. I think you'll have an announcement this week from a guy who was with the National Series last year, and he's going to return. I think you're going to just guys filling in who we expect to. And then I think Axum's the next one who try his hand. I think TJ Stutz, I think that decision's going to come after the Dirt Car Nationals. I don't think it's going to happen beforehand. So I don't think nothing's going to be surprising. If you're looking for a surprise move, I don't think that's going to happen. $9.89 on the IHRA plans for the dirt track. Something to think about. And we need him at this point in time. It's getting slim pickings for 98.9s in January, but we'll make it through. Thank you for the suggestion. What was the hype like for Kevin Swindell when he was coming up and winning? 3-time Chili Bowls. I didn't follow racing much at that time. Well, either Swindell, really, when they rolled into the Expo Center, I mean, they were the favorite. Whether it was Sammy or Kevin. It was kind of equal that way. But, I mean, Kevin Swindell was really, really good. He was a really talented driver. I was there the night he got hurt at Knoxville. Horrible accident and result. But yeah, when he rolled into the Expo Center, fun to watch, whether it was him or his dad, and you knew they were going to be running up front. And the results don't lie. It's a lot of hype. Will the Vikings do okay next year with J.J. McCarthy and Brosmer, quarterback, with 1 year under their belt? No. I'm not a J.J. McCarthy guy at all. My dad's a big Michigan fan. I didn't like him coming out of great at college, but I don't think he's an NFL starter who can take you deep into the playoffs. And Brosmer, no way. Although Drake May proved me wrong this year. Well, Jeremy, any more thoughts on if and when you will do your weekend race recap like you mentioned on Dirt Tracker podcast? I've been thinking about it. Luckily, I have some more time to think about it. I'm trying to look at the schedule and see what makes the most sense. And that there's so many races. There's 107 races in the central Pennsylvania region next year. And then, of course, I travel too. So I'm not sure. And the problem is, like Sugar Bear just said, do Sunday night show for the fans. Yeah, I mean, Sunday night could work. But what do I do when there's a BAPS race? Move it to Monday? And there's, I don't know. I have to really sit down and think about it. Check the schedule, see what works the best. Quick question though. What would you like to see in that show? Would you just results, or do you want me to do chat live? Let me know. How many from the PA Posse running in the Chili Bowl? You got Steve Buckwalter, Tim Buckwalter, and you have your Alex Bright and those guys, but they're not really PA Posse guys. Briggs Danner's running it. They're local to here, but they're not really, again, PA Posse guys. I don't think any. I'm trying to remember. I have the list over on my desk. I'm not going to get up and go and get it. But I don't think any. Surprisingly, think about this. No Rico, no gravel. No Tyler Courtney. No Brad Sweet. There's no Brent Marks, no Aaron Reitzel, no Carson Macedo. They're over in Australia. No Logan Schuhart. You're big 410 sprint car drivers. Yeah, Buddy. Buddy's the only one. Kyle Larson, if you want to count him. I just think some of the star power from the 410 ranks isn't running it. And yeah, I'm be curious why. What do you think the three tracks that What do you think of the three tracks that comprise Sheldon's series of 3 World of Outlaws events after the Natty O? Obviously, Mansfield's the one everybody's. I think Mansfield could end up drawing for all of them. Sharon, I like that idea. And again, I thought about going to Mill Street. I've never been there. So I've actually never been to Sharon, believe it or not. Every time I wanted to go, it was going to rain. So I didn't go. I think it's a good swing. Ohio, rich area, fans will attend. I think the Mansfield thing in there. I think that's really good. People go to that just to see the place. So I think it was smart. I think that was smart scheduling by the World of Outlaws. What format would fans like to see during the $5 sprint car night at BAPS? Asking for feedback from drivers and fans. Want to make it exciting for new fans' first impression. This is Colton Gauss. This is one of the reasons I like him as a promoter. He just asks. So respond to him. Give him your thoughts. He'll definitely take it into consideration. Except a revenge draw. Don't do anything stupid like that. What are your NFL wildcard weekend picks? There's going to be an upset somewhere. Well, technically, I guess Buffalo's favored over Jacksonville. I think the Rams are a slam dunk over the Panthers. I think the Eagles beat up on the 49ers. I think they actually cover the spread. I like the Jags over the Bills, and I think McDermott should be fired afterward. They've regressed every year. I think there's some people who like the Chargers over the Patriots. I'm going to roll with the Patriots. The Bears, Green Bay, and Steelers, Houston are, to me, up in the air. The Packers are banged up. So that kind of, I guess Jordan Love should be back. I'm going to go with the Packers in a close one. And then Houston, Pittsburgh. I know Houston has the best defense. I'd throw Jalen Ramsey all day long, so I'm going to take Houston. They're my picks. Uh-oh, what happened? I think Eric fell asleep. No, he's shaking his head no. He's having problems tonight, struggling. How is Stutz doing in Australia? The only result I see so far is that he won a B main Saturday. I don't know. That's a good question. And again, it shouldn't be. It's my fault. I accept responsibility for it. I just haven't followed it as closely after the high limit and stuff. I know Reitzel won a race over there. Maybe if Eric finds that, he can, since he's in tune with Australian racing, I should just get him to go down there and report on it. But he's shaking his head yes. I'm sorry. I haven't really checked it out. Who will be the I assume breakout driver and Central PA driver? Wow. Who will be the break driver in Central PA driver this year. I think he means a breakout driver this year. I think Preston Latimus will be better than he was last year. I saw improvement at the end of the year. Look, watch Logan Rumsey. I think he just continues to improve. So I'm going to say Rumsey. Lots of 410 drivers are running it. Yeah, Baston, Nida, Cap Henry, Reese Moran, Sam Hafertip, PPM, and more. You're right. There's 39 or 40 of them, depending where you want to classify them. I did not count the USAC guys just because I was kind of focused on the wing cars. But, yeah, there's a lot of guys running it. You don't have – there was a year you had Sweet, Gravel, Courtney. Now, Courtney's injury probably, but you had all your top guys running it. Now you don't. And I'm curious. That's curious to me. Jeremy, how's the hand healing? Actually, it's getting better. It's still a little tender, but I can type now. I can type pretty well. So everything's back to normal on SprintCarUnlimited.com. 98.9s and everything, we're full tilt. So rest time's over, I guess, for it. But I appreciate you asking. Thank you. Do you think we will see Christopher Bell in a 69K at Volusia again? I don't know if we'll see him at Volusia. Again, I'm not sure if that's a deal that's going to continue in 2026. I'll check it out. But again, Volusia, though, I don't know. That's a hard trip to make for that team. Hockey Unlimited. I love it. I don't know. I feel sometimes when I talk about other sports, people get mad. I hope they don't. With working at a newspaper as long as I did, I'm a sports junkie. So I can't help it. I'll answer any sports question if I know the answer or at least give my opinion. What race are you most looking forward to attending in 2026? Every year, the Kings Royal is my favorite race. I love Kings Royal Week. Eldora is my favorite track. That event's my favorite. If I go to the West Coast, I'll look forward to that as well. I haven't decided where Brent, my photographer, and I are going to go, but we're going to go somewhere. We just don't know where yet. We're kind of hashing out those plans. I will gladly tell people on here where I'm going to go. But I love the Kings Royal. I love Eldora Speedway. I love that week. It goes by, like that. It just flies by. Big fan of Eldora. Everything about it. So I like big races. I love big races. Vegas is fun. I enjoyed myself at Vegas last year, and I think we're going back. So, Jeremy, speaking of other sports, rank the top 4 major American sports by excitement level in person. Baseball, hockey, basketball, football. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball. There you go. I love the NFL, and I'm an NFL first guy, but hockey's in-person experience, second to none. So it's hockey, football, then basketball. Basketball and baseball is almost a toss-up, and they're so far behind the other two. And I've been to all of them and recently been to all of them. So, but hockey, then NFL, and then the other two. I like baseball, though. Baseball in person, I like it. Dave Byron and I went to St. Louis Cardinals game. It was really nice. I enjoyed it. Busch Stadium, hallowed ground, so to speak. So I enjoy it. I think basketball and baseball are a push, but those first two and hockey is awesome. What's your opinion on the Lincoln Speedway announcer? Which one? Which one? I know Wayne Harper's been there a long time. He's been a staple at the Speedway. I know they had Steve Inch fill in a little bit last year. I like Steve Inch a lot. I liked him at Sealands Grove. So, I mean, I don't know what the future holds as far as who's going to be doing the job. I know Wayne's getting up there a bit and getting around's a little tougher, but I haven't heard anything yet that he will be out of the booth. So we'll see. Didn't only one outlaw win at the Dirt Car Nationals last year? You seem to be picking all four to be won by outlaw drivers this year. No, I just said Gravel and Sheldon. I said I didn't say anybody else is an outlaw guy's gonna win. I said Sheldon, and there's 4 races. So I just think Sheldon's gonna surprise people the first weekend because I know how that car runs and I know how good he is there. Now he can also be bad there, but he has some pretty bad luck there. So, but I think they get off to a good start. I think Gravel gets one, and then I think you could see there's a lot of, and I'm going to do a 90 at 9 on this as well. Both rosters are in flux as far as things going on with their teams. So, I mean, if you're going to predict Rico to just go in there and win right away in the TSR car, I'm not going to do that. Brad Sweet isn't going to be there. He's normally good at Volusia. I don't think he'll be there. I doubt it highly he'll be there. Brent Marks, not great there. Tyler Courtney, it's his first race back in the car. I mean, we'll see. I think Tyler Courtney might be the guy. If a guy jumps up from high limit and wins there, I think it could be Tyler Courtney if everything's okay with the eye. But I didn't say Outlaws are going to win them all. Isn't Kyle going to be there? If Kyle's there, he'll win one too. Should Woo or High Limit have a time limit to lessen the cost, a tire limit to lessen the cost of teams? I don't know. I really don't have any thoughts. You know what? It's racing at its highest level. It's expensive. You're not going to cut the costs that much. I just think just let them go. I mean, there's other things that are more important. Work area, things like that. I don't expect those 2 series to go to a tire limit. Jeremy, do they do sprint car and fender cars on frozen lakes in PA? No. They do it in Wisconsin and it's trash. No, they don't do anything like that here. No. Nothing like they do penguin plunges where people jump in, or the polar bear plunge, but not cars, no. Let's go everywhere and only 72 likes, 367 people watching. Let's do it. I appreciate that. Jeremy, did you ever get down to Bridgeport and watch the URC 360 guys in their heyday on the big 5/8 mile? No, but I did see Sammy Swindell in the Bull and Hannah's car just annihilate that place. Blistered it one night in a World of Outlaws event. It was one of the most impressive displays of speed I've ever seen. So no, I have not seen 360 guys on it, but I did see the 410 sprint cars. And specifically, Sammy Swindell was lights out, dominated that field. I don't know if I've seen a sprint car go that fast ever before or after that. He was fast. Jeremy, how many Nishaw pulls are you doing for the Chili Bowl? I know you are a huge fan. I'll do one. Okay, maybe two. Maybe two. If it wouldn't be for Corey, I probably wouldn't do it because I don't know a ton about midgets. I know enough to be dangerous, and then that's pretty much it. It's such a crapshoot because I don't like the fact that it's a wreck. It can be a wreck. It's just so much luck involved with that many days and, just different rosters and everything. And then you start getting into, Corey likes to be cute about it and make 10 categories, and the 10th one are guys you've never heard of. I think some of them don't have a social security number. So I don't even, know what's going on there. So, but yes, I'll play it. I might play two. Maybe. We'll see. Definitely one, though. Would Axum qualify for a rookie? I thought he was full-time USAC sprint because that's a different division. That's a different division. Yes, he would qualify as a rookie. He should. If he doesn't, that's a problem. Do you think we'll ever see Justin Sanders take on a national tour? I think the guy is a super talented. Hopefully one of these years he can make it work. The thing with Justin is Justin has a business out in California. He has a wife. He just bought a house, built a shop. I think too, I just think guys don't want to do it just to do it. He's one of those guys. He wants to win. And everything kind of has to line up because, like I said, he does have responsibilities at home. I think if he did do it, high limit would be kind of the direction to take because there's less races. I think it'd be easier for him to get home. They're on the West Coast from Knoxville until they come back to Port Royal, start in Vegas, go to Arizona, which isn't far away. So I think high limit would make more sense for him. But I just think he has a lot going on at home. And I think he makes good money doing what he does for a living. And if you need shocks done, he's the guy to go to out there. So I would be surprised if he goes out and does a whole national tour. I think he can do it, but why would he? It's got a lot going on. Congrats to our 9 p.m. BAPS winner, Frank Natali. I assume that's what it is. All right. We got our BAPS winners. That's good. Colton will be happy. All right. We're flying along. I saw a picture on Facebook of BAPS. They removed the front stretch wall after, I believe, 40 to 50 years. Are they moving it out on the track further or just replacing it? I actually asked Colton. They are not widening it. So they're just putting in a new fence. He just got back to me. So there you go. Just putting a new one in. Big Diamond just announced new lighting system. Overdue and a good improvement. I think I always like Speed Week shows there. I always enjoyed them. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on the Patriots going far in the playoffs? I was wrong on Drake May. I can't say that enough. I know I had I waffled on MVP. I know last week I said Stafford. I think Stafford wins it, but it's a lot closer than I thought. And looking at some things, it is a tough call between those two. Really tough call. But I think the Patriots beat the Chargers. I just don't know if the Chargers can protect Herbert. Their offensive line's sketchy at best. So, and then after that, it depends who wins. I think they win a game at the very least. And I think that's a win for them. If they win one game, even if they don't win, where they were last year to this year, it doesn't matter what happens. To me, the season's been a success in their progression. So I think they win a game, and then I think they might lose then. I think the AFC's wide open though. I don't think there's a favorite in the AFC. I think the NFC's better. And I just don't know if there's a clear-cut favorite in the AFC. So I think they can win a game or two, and who knows? Maybe even go further. Do you see any more NASCAR teams coming into sprint cars? Ooh, you never know. You never know. That's such a hard question to answer. I just don't know who does it. I mean, I'm not saying no. I've heard of some teams who want to do it, or some individual drivers who want to do it. I'm not going to go into who. There's one prominent guy who I know wants to do it, and it's not Christopher Bell, but I'm not going to. I don't know. That's a tough one. Everything has to line up. They want a good driver, so on and so forth. And you got to build a team. The show should be like This Week on Dirt. Record it and put it on YouTube midweek, just like when you used to get your Speed Sport. Interesting. So that would be no call-ins, no chat. Just kind of a recap. Now, the problem is, I'd love to do a This Week on Dirt. I thought This Week on Dirt was great. The problem is I can't get footage of all those races. And that's because Flow's not going to give me their footage of the races. Dirt Vision's not going to give me their footage of the races. So that's the one hang up with that. I loved it. I think This Week on Dirt, if you haven't seen it, check it out. To me, it stands the test of time. It was a great show. But it's trying to get all the footage. That's the problem. Jeremy, do other weekend nationals do a point system like the Huset's High Bank Nationals? Yeah, they do. You have points for Skagit Nationals. You have points for the Knoxville Nationals. You use point system for Gold Cup. Yeah, seems to be use points for the Weikert. Just it's within the Weikert ones that same night. It's not the other two races, so I guess that wouldn't count. But the other ones, yes. Do you think the PA Posse Series gets to around 35 races and has a decent amount of guys run it? They're going to paint me in a corner here. I think it gets close to it, and I think it'll help the amount of guys run it, but I don't know if you're going to get 10 guys to run it. Because you're still going to Bedford, you're still going to Clinton County, you're still going to Path Valley, and there's just teams who aren't going to do that. Is handicap racing fair? Better to give everyone a participation ribbon. I was waiting for that. Yeah, I think the biggest issue now is the parity in the sport. Everybody can go buy speed in a box. So I think you have parity. They're all pretty close. And it's just harder to pass when you have 25 guys within 0.4 of a second on a big track. It's awful hard to make up ground, especially when you're doing it in a heat race and it's 10 laps. It doesn't take long to get strung out, and it's tough. The package now is just so even. Handicap was really good when you had haves and have-nots. You had tire choices to where, okay, I'm going to put on a soft tire and go like crazy at the beginning, and then you had guys who put hard tires on who came on at the end. You might catch them when the soft tires started giving up. When you had those variables, handicap racing was great. But now you just don't have that. Do you attend the motorsports show in Oaks? I'll go down for one day. I'll take my father down. I'll probably be near the BAPS booth. But yeah, I usually take in one day of it. I might go down Friday. Who knows if I want to get out of the house. Jeremy, it's the off season. We have enough speculation and rumors, so other sports are okay. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'll talk about anything. I like Kirkland and PA for a up and comer. Yeah, absolutely. I thought Jake Kirkland made some inroads the last couple years. I think he's continued to progress, and we'll see how he does this year. Which racetrack in central Pennsylvania has the best food, and what is it? Burger, pizza, chicken? I don't eat it at the racetrack a lot. Try to cut that stuff out. It's not like they have healthy stuff there. Port during Fair Week is really, really, really good. I'd say it's Port and BAPS. The pizza at Williams Grove is the best in the area. The pizza at the Grove. BAPS has probably a wider variety of good things. Port has some good things as well. That's where I'm at with it, pretty much. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on the Chaz being personal trained and coached by Spike and helping him lose 40 pounds in 20 days so he can race in Florida for Boom Briggs? I have no thoughts on it. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, that's great. 40 pounds in 20 days, not exactly healthy. If you're a wrestler, I mean, that's up to him. I don't, but having thoughts on it, the key is not putting it back on. I mean, so I don't know. That's up to him. I saw the video of him working out. Somebody needs to tell him you don't go in. If you're serious about the gym, you don't take videos in the gym. You don't. It's a no-no. It's an unwritten rule. So that I will say. What track will be the first track to have an AI announcer? Oh, I don't know. I don't even, Chaz, no, you're wrong. Serious people, they don't do that. And it's a no-no. In fact, if you did that around here, you'd probably get thrown the hell out. You don't do that. An AI announcer, I don't even want to think about it. I don't know if anybody's going to do it. I don't think anybody's going to do that. I don't even think racing's like 15 years behind every other sport and how they do things. So I don't think I just don't think that's even on anybody's radar. I think Linda Speedway already uses AI to help with the announcing. Really? That's news to me. That's news to me. Now they do run micros and I don't go there. So that, and I've never heard. Look, we're getting all kinds of stuff. Put that link up. There you go. Check it out. Eric's proven me wrong. This is why I have him producing, to keep me in line and correct my mistakes. When is the racing show in Harrisburg? I assume you mean Motorama. That is what's it, the 21st, 22nd? Hang on. I can look. Give me a minute. It is February. Yeah, it's 20th, 21st, 22nd. It's a week before the Lincoln opener. Now, Racing Extravaganza, yes, that's the 29th to 30th, but that's in York. Who do you think has a great 360 dirt car nationals and subpar 410 nationals? Similar to Peck last year. Wow. Well, I don't know who's going to run it yet. Man, that's wow. I don't know where he pulled that one out of, because that's I mean, there's a lot of candidates for that. I don't know who's going to run it. That's the problem. I would assume most of the high limit guys will run it. Courtney, Gio, but Gio could do well at both. Courtney could do well at both. Probably a local there. I would assume like maybe a Carson McCarl, maybe an Austin McCarl. I think a local, somebody local. Jeremy, have you done a deep dive with Justin Sanders? No, I try and avoid drivers as much as possible because I talk to them so much during the year. I try and get guys outside of the cockpit. I want to do different guys. Guys, like this week, there's a guy in California I'm trying to get. So I want to hold off doing drivers for a year or two yet, because I just want to do a lot of guys who maybe are behind the scenes a little bit more. 4-0 Sabres. We have the Sabres update, so that's good. Jim from Buffalo. What a rascal. High limit, Jeremy, are you on the payroll this year? You should be. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I've said bad things about high limit. I've said good things about high limit. I've said bad things about the Outlaws. I've said good things about the Outlaws. It's called as I see it. My check, I get no check. I wish I was, but I'm not. Whose brainchild was the PA Posse series? Names of people, not just tracks. This is something that was talked about in April. I do think there were, I think it was between, and you say not tracks, I'd say Lincoln and Port Royal. So I'd say Jerry Parrish is a guy who's been instrumental in it. And I think the promoters all got in a room. In fact, I know the promoters all got in a room. So everybody had to agree to it. And this is something that was talked about early in the year. So I would say Jerry Parrish and the other promoters. And I think there were things that were suggested that didn't happen. And then I just think once they got in a room, everybody talked about it. So let's talk Knoxville Nationals. Does David Gravel win another Nationals? Can Ryan Timms repeat? You've been saying Kofoid on the cusp of a championship. Can he win a Knoxville Nationals? David Gravel will win another Knoxville Nationals. I don't know if it'll be this year, but he will win another Knoxville Nationals. Ryan Timms repeating, going to be tough. That was a special week all the way around. He was good all year, and he just, it was just everything lined up. Kofoid will not win a Knoxville Nationals this year. I think at some point he will, yes. It's not his best place. He's had some good runs there. I think he went 10th to 3rd last year during an Outlaw show. And of course, he had his Friday night, or he had his run Friday night last year. That was impressive. And it just shows that he can win at any time and perform well no matter what, even at a place that he's not as good at. I think he wins the championship in 2027. Although, I'll tell you what, watching him in Australia makes me pause a little bit on that. Maybe bump it up a year, but I said 2027. I'm going to stick with it. But yes, Gravel will win another Nationals. Yes, it might be this year. Jet Yantis' dad wants me to call him in an hour. Do you have any advice for questions to ask him? No. I mean, he was DQ'd. I don't know a lot about what happened because obviously it's Tulsa shootout, and I care as much about the Tulsa shootout as I do this straw in my drink. But I mean, you have to ask, how does this happen? I mean, that's, how does this, I guess it was for engine stuff. How does this happen? Depending what he says, if he says we weren't illegal, then you got a whole nother list of questions. So I don't, again, there you go. It says Yantis' engine was modified. So it was an engine issue. You got to ask him about the rules. You got to ask him, did they know the rules beforehand? You got to ask him, were they aware they weren't compliant? Did they think they were compliant? There's anything along those lines is what I would ask him. How old is he? 4-2 Sabres. Uh-oh. We got a wellness check on Jim Gifford from Buffalo. Jim from Buffalo. That was a quick turnaround. Four 3 Sabres. Time for whiskey. Not looking too good over there. One change that you think would promote more passing, dish wings. To me, I want dish wings back more than anything. More than anything, I want dish wings back. Okay, dish wings, and I want multiple choices on compounds for tires. I don't care if it's one company. I just want choices. Want choices. Will the teddy bear toss record ever be broken after last weekend in Hershey or anywhere else? Well, last year it was 102,000. So it was last year that was set. Look, I'm sure at some point it'll be broken. I can tell you what's going to happen next year. people, when they announced that it was only 81,700, you heard a oh in the crowd. Next year, people are going to bring bags of those things. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was if it's broken next year when they have it at Hershey. Last year it was Ryan Timms. Who is your sleeper pick to win a big money show? Huh. Well, I was asked a while ago who I think the next first-time winner is going to be. I think it's going to be Rico. Sleeper. I think it's Gio. I think Gio's a sleeper. Now, I mean, I don't think he's ever a favorite going into one of those races. I like Eric Prutzman. I think they're going to have a good 6 months to get that thing. Well, I should say 5 months because it's starting February. I think they're going to have 5 months to get things rolling in that thing. I think Gio's going to be a sleeper in one of those high dollar shows. Hoosier can really fix sprint car racing competition if they produce different compound tires. Amen. Not much to say more than that. Late model start 2026 this Saturday in Arizona. Could something like this work for 410s? No, we've had it. We had Slick 50, didn't work. We had Winter Heat, went away. I just think now I just think it doesn't work. And I don't, you got guys in Australia. You have the Chili Bowl. You have a lot of weekends booked up already. I don't know where you'd put it. Number one, as far as when I say where to put it, I don't know what weekend you would hold it. And I don't know. It hasn't worked in the past. So why would I think it's going to work now? Part of me wants to see it, but it just hasn't worked. So look, we need an off season. Good God, we need an off season. Haven't heard much negative feedback from drivers on 1 1/2 wicker bill or 1.5 wicker bill rule implemented last season. Does this provide downforce needed, and help with dirty air while racing? I just think that at that point, I don't think it's either way. I think they were just sick of dealing with it. Like it went, I know at the beginning, I heard a lot of, well, first they were down to 1 inch, then we're 2 inch, and let's make up our minds. So they split the difference. And I just think drivers accepted it. I don't think there was, I don't think they cared about it at that point. In other words, I don't think created a ton of time. I don't think it affected. It depends who you ask. Some say it affected them a lot. Some say it didn't affect them at all. Depending on the driver. Who was the best winged sprint car driver to never win a Woo championship? Doug Wolfgang. Not even close. I wish they would bring back Winter Heat to Arizona. They could definitely do it in Central Arizona. Why? I mean, who's going to travel out there? West Coast fans, they're struggling to get fans at West Coast races. Who's going to travel out there? You got to remember, we have so many big shows now during the year. I don't think people have the money to go out for an event like that. I think there's some things that have happened over the years that prevent that from working. We're 10 years removed, I believe, from Winter Heat. And we have an influx of big shows that just drain people's money throughout the year. Now we want to add more. I just don't think it works. I don't think you're going to get fans. Winter Heat didn't draw fans. I know people who were there. It just doesn't work. I don't think sprint car racing in the offseason works at all. It's these guys, again, what weekend are you going to put it? You have PRI, you have SEMA, you have the Dome, you have Chili Bowl, you have the Tulsa Shootout, you have High Limit in Australia, there's no weekends left. I just don't know when you're going to do it. Edmonton 1, Nashville nothing. Tell me how many shots Connor McDavid has. I might have made a wager on that. Yep, Edmonton 1, Nashville nothing. Jeremy, what is the top 3 best races you've seen? Have you ever cried because of a victory? Have I ever cried because of a victory? No, I've not cried over a victory, but I have thought a win. I was like, wow, I can't believe what I just watched, or wow, that's a great win. I was glad I was there to see it. Cried? No. I've been extremely happy when I was a kid, when I was a little, when I was, a kid in grade school and I saw Doug Wolfgang win Outlaws shows. To me, that was the greatest thing because I was a kid. So, top 3 best races I've ever seen. Oh God, I got to go back through thousands of races. I cry every time a car goes to the work area, but it's not a positive thing. You got to give me time to think about that. I'll be here all night trying to think of 3 races dating back to 1977. Connor McDavid, 3 shots on goal. All I need is 4. He needs 1 more over the next 2.5 periods to get it. That was a wise wager on my part. The over-under was 3.5, and I got plus 115 on it. That's nice. Woo at the Grove versus High Limit at Port. Take the history out of it. What's more exciting? From an event standpoint, it's a National Open, and I will die on that hill because I love the National Open, and I think it's a special event. And if they were both running the same night, I'd get somebody to cover one and I would cover the other. That's tough. Which one's more exciting? Depends on track conditions. I've seen exciting races at both. I've seen clunkers at both. The Tuscarora 50 2 years ago was awful. The Williams Grove National Open this year was great. So I'll take the event and I'll say the National Open. I'll take the National Open every time. As an Iowa Wild fan, how's Louis Belpedio doing in Hershey? He's doing well. He was actually with Lehigh Valley last year, which is a bitter rival of the Bears. He scored the teddy bear toss goal. So when everybody threw it on the ice. So he's looked pretty good. I think he's played well. I think it was a good acquisition, and he's an older player that brings some experience to a very young team. So I think it was a good pickup. Would have loved to hear the NHL Connor pick before the game instead of during. Sorry. I made the bet right before I came on air. I literally hit the wager button and then sat down. I'm sorry. I didn't know I needed to put my bets up. I bet on shots on goal a lot. That if I'm going to place a bet in hockey, that's usually what it is. Shots on goal. Would you consider a watch along with next Tuesday night's Chili Bowl prelim feature? That means do I have to watch the whole thing? I mean, do I have to? Is that a necessity? Because that's going to be like The Onion. I'm not going to be complimentary all the time. I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. Ask the people what they think. We'll let that one up to the fans. I don't know if I can do that. In my eyes, the Chili Bowl is where I start to really look forward to the racing season due to Volusia only being a few weeks after. Would you agree? I could see that. For me, it's the shows. I do the York show. Well, I'll go for a day to the motorsports show in Oaks, just kind of hang out. And then I have a booth at Racing Extravaganza in York. Do something, with fans. I hope to have merch this year. I'm working on it. Can't guarantee it. But so then I really kind of start to get going or get into the groove to want to go to Volusia. Actually, I got to make my plane ticket tonight. Didn't Hoosier go to one compound due to woo and cost cutting, Jeremy? I'm not sure why they did that. I don't have that answer, unfortunately. I didn't know if it had to do with molds or cost for them. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if it was the World of Outlaws, though. I don't, because remember, the World of Outlaws were going to go American Racer at one point, and then the tracks kind of superseded them, and they had to switch. So I don't know why they went to one compound. That I don't have an answer to. I can try and find out. Dason Pursley, over under 4 wins with high limit. Ooh, like the number. I would drop the under on that. I'm going to go to under on that. Slightly under. I would probably set the over under at 3 if I was doing it. Ricky Thornton Jr., hands down, one of the most versatile drivers in the dirt world. How long until he wins a sprint car race? I think it's going to be a while. I mean, because for 2 reasons. Number one, he just doesn't have time to do it enough. And number 2, he usually does it against a stacked field. If he ran a podunk race in the Midwest somewhere, or, where there's 10, 12 cars or whatever, I could see it. But he runs high profile events. So if he continues that route and doesn't get laps, he won't win one. He can be the most versatile. That's all well and good. But, he doesn't get a lot of chances or opportunities. And then he enters Charlotte. Well, he's not going to win at Charlotte. He can't qualify at Charlotte. So he's got to get laps. There's got to be significant laps. And he's got to kind of pick some races that aren't loaded with the best guys in the sport. The 69K went to Arizona that one year, Jeremy. Yes, it did. I mean, I don't know. Okay. I mean, I get it. Has anyone ever swept all 4 nights of the Winter Nationals at Volusia? Not that I know of. No. Your thoughts on Anthony Macri repeat at the Kings Royal? It's so many things got to line up at that race with the format the way it is. I mean, he can. It's not that he can't. It's just there's not many repeat winners of that race. I would bet against it only because of that. I'll just play the odds. There's not many guys who won back to back. It's just so tough to do. I'm not grumpy, by the way. Something grumpy, gambling, and racing. You're turning into Robin Miller. I don't even understand that. I'm not grumpy. Just give honest answers. RTJ does have at least one victory in the Outlaw non-wing division. Okay. It's not a sprint car. Is that you, Eric? Yeah, that one you should have kept to yourself. Will Brian Posner ever have an all-star season again? Brock Boser. No. Who is the most entertaining combo, Rodman, Laporta, or Gibson Wade? I think they're different. And it's not me copying out, not giving an answer. I think Rodman and Laporta keep it light. I think they complement. I think both complement each other really well. I think the hardest job to do in any commentating is pit guy or infield guy, because you don't have a script and you never know when it's getting tossed to you. So I actually like them both, probably pretty equal. I just think they're two different things. I think Rodman and Laporta are kind of the hit, new, keeping it light. I think Gibson and Wade are more serious. I think they keep it more above board, so to speak. So I just think they're different. I think they're both entertaining. I don't dislike either tandem. I like both tandems. I think Chase Rodman's gotten significantly better up top. And I think Tony Laporta really fits into that pit reporter really well. Some people don't like the extra stuff. That doesn't bother me. I think Connor Wade is really, really, really good as a pit reporter. Johnny, I'm just so used to. And he's the traditionalist. It's just two different styles. So to pick one, I mean, I'm entertained by both. Fans are the ones who take sides on that one. I just think they're drastically different. So, I mean, trying to separate those two combos, I think is really tough. I think it could depend on the day. If I just want to be entertained and keep it light, probably Rodman and Laporta. If I'm in that serious mode, probably Gibson and Wade. I don't like yelling. Okay, that's one thing I don't like. I'm not a big into the yelling thing. Just because you're yelling does not make it more exciting. Go see Al Michaels. Al Michaels is the best in the business. He doesn't yell. So there you go. And they both are guilty of that. Both combos at times are up top are guilty of that. Deep dive with Corey the pool guy. Be very interested in hearing how he goes about putting the pools together, how long it takes, what's the background, how does he get the information? Oh, Corey Neeshaw. I thought like it was like her pool you put water in. That wouldn't be bad. That's actually not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. I think that's an extra one though. Like do a deep dive Thursday, maybe as a bonus during the week, do that or have them on a podcast or something. Not a bad idea at all. All right, let's cruise through these last few. Donnie shots over under 1.5 this season. I set him at 3 wins, so I'll say over. 98.9 with Hoosier to explain what is going on to better the sport. I have a 98.9 tomorrow on tires. Now, I didn't talk to anybody at Hoosier. It's just kind of making people aware of some of the pitfalls of just going open. You just can't do it. Why is the Kings Royal so hard to win? It's the format. You qualify and then you spiel the wheel of doom, I guess it is, and it sets the invert for the heat races. So there's a variable that you don't know going into it. That's one thing. But the great thing about those heat races too, you can pass. The track is dry, slick, and you can pass. And the thing is, you miss one corner, don't hit a corner right, you're in trouble. And you can be quick time, and if you finish third in your heat, you're starting back in the A main. So the format just makes it so difficult. To me, it's the toughest format in the country. I think the Kings Royal easily is the toughest format in the country. How much is a ticket to PA? The PA possum racing series? Jesus. I don't know. I've heard rumors that they're going to be set at like $30, 25 to 30. Each track gets to charge what they want, but it'll be between 25 and $30. PA Possum Racing Series. That's funny. The closest to back-to-back at Eldora was Brent Marks in 2022. The historical big one had the same format as the Kings Royal, besides the invert being chosen by the wheel for the HBO. Donnie Schatz is going back-to-back in the Kings Royal. We got close to sweeping 1 year at Volusia, first, second in 2021. There you go. Never been done, though. Of the 12-15 races, Larson, Kofoid, and Gravel should race head-to-head this year. Who gets the most wins? Wow. They'll race head-to-head at Eldora. I give the edge to Gravel there. Man. Volusia. That's a toss-up between Larson. It's Larson or Gravel because the places they'll run against each other, their places Kofoid really isn't great at yet. He will be. And I'm going to say Gravel. Let's say Gravel. Would any top late model driver jump in a wing sprints for better money? Problem is it's not better money. Late model guys run for a lot of coin, way more than sprint cars. So I don't ever see that happen. I think they try it once in a while, but not as a rule. Not to make the total commitment to it. That's a compliment. Robin Miller was a legend. Well, I'm not grumpy though. No, I appreciate it. I know who Robin Miller is. I just didn't know I was being grumpy. Sometimes I can be grumpy if the answer warrants it. It's all good. It's all good. Fiedler calls me a curmudgeon. I don't know why, but he does. Will Brad Sweet be racing the 49 KKR car in 26 when he races? No. I think you'll see him in a certain white car. Not KKR. When did the work area become an actual thing? When I was younger, if you had a problem, you were done. I agree. I'm not 100% sure. Was it when TV came around? I hate the work area. Regardless, Jesus, I hate the work area. In fact, out of anything in sprint car racing, you could be stealing parts out of the back of a trailer. I like that more than the work area. Hate the work area. You see anyone waiting until after Volusia to commit to a national tour like Axum? I could see that happening. Wouldn't surprise me at all. See what kind of start you get. If it's not good at Dirt Car Nationals, you head west to Vegas, go high limit racing. I absolutely think that could happen. Jeremy, gravel dominates 2026 and wins series again. Good or bad for business? I don't think it matters. I think it'll be closer. So I dominates is a strong term. I don't think he's going to dominate. I think it's going to be very hard to duplicate what he did as far as top 5 finishes last year. I believe it was 82%. That is a large, large number. So to duplicate that is going to be really, really difficult. So I think it'll be closer. I think Kofoid's going to be on him. If Kofoid can get out of Volusia, then we got a game. If it's close out of Volusia. Of course, then he has a second trip to Volusia. So, and if he can kind of hold, tread water at the Grove and whatnot. So I think it'll be more entertaining. I don't think it's bad for business. And I think there'll be plenty of contenders at different races. Take the top 10 sprint car drivers and then the top 10 late model drivers and have them switch cars. Which group will be better in the opposite car type, do you think? Do we get to claim Larson? Because if we get to claim Larson, I'm going to take the sprint car guys. Because I think he can win in a late model. I think I'll take the sprint car guys. And it's not me being a homer. I just think they can. Larson's 1-1. So we're going to take Larson. I think there are a couple other. Gravel, I think, could adjust to it. I think Kofoid can drive anything. So you got to remember those cars are slower. I think some late model guys got a lot of speed to catch up to. Danny Dietrich did run a late model at Hagerstown and crashed. But we're talking about Gravel, Kofoid, Larson, Be interesting. It'll be interesting. Do you, I'm assuming it says, do you think some teams going to Volusia, that may be dropping off and running a regional series like McCarl, Randall, etc.? I don't know what Randall's going to do. There's been no word on McCarl either. I think those guys are either going to commit or they don't. I don't think those guys will commit and then drop off. So I think they'll make their decision after Volusia. So we won't know if they're dropping off or not. If that makes sense. Worst driver you've ever seen. I vote for Callum Williamson. Come on. Callum Williamson's not the worst driver I've ever seen. I'll tell you what, the guy at Knoxville, that Wagner dude who took out Justin Sanders on the backstretch during the hot laps. I don't know. I mean, there's guys are slow. They got to get laps. It's not Callum Williamson. No. All right, guys, that's a wrap on the questions. I got to talk to my daughter. She's already texted me. I appreciate everybody joining the show tonight. Good show, lots of questions, good callers. And again, we'll be back next week. I'm not sure what it will be. Maybe it'll be a watch show. I don't know. Leave your suggestions in the comment section of the show, and I'll look at them tomorrow. Again, thank you very much, and we'll be back next week. Stay tuned.